This is Danielle Levine with Embrace Families, and I'm here with Claudia De La Torre, one of our former foster youth. And we are here for our What to Expect When Expecting video series as told by teens. To learn a little bit about Claudia's experience with foster care and why it's so important for members of the community to get involved, learn about becoming a foster parent, and open your heart and home to a child in need. So Claudia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Would you mind starting off by saying what makes you interested in helping to advocate for more people to step up and become foster parents? What inspires you to do that?
So I actually have this friend, her name is Nicole Cordova, and she is actually very involved in just everything foster care. We were in foster care together in the same group home, and she's a huge advocate for foster youth. And she kind of inspired me to, use my voice and my platform and everything that I've been through to kind of make a difference. So I think she's what kind of motivated me to be here today and talk with you.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about the story of why or how you wound up coming into care?
Yeah, so I was 15 when I called DCF, basically, and was taken away from my mom because of her mental health. She wasn't in a fit position to take care of me. I was in school at the time. We were living in a motel. It wasn't a good situation. And so I made the call, and DCF as well as some officers came and they directed my mom, who was a paranoid schizophrenic, and they placed me in care. And I was there until the age of 18.
So that sounds like it must have been really difficult. It's not every day that we are in a position where we are essentially saying, mom or dad isn't doing too great of a job right now, and I need to get myself out of the situation. Like, what was that like for you?
It was definitely tough. I still remember my mom crying and just it was an emotional event, but I knew that I couldn't stay in that situation. I knew that I needed help. I needed to, be in a better place. And unfortunately at the time there was no one in my life that could help me the way that I needed to be helped. And so I took matters into my own hands and I did it myself.
So when you came into foster care, were you in a group home? Were you with a foster family?
So I was in a transitional shelter for about a week or two, and then I was placed into Great Oaks Village, which is a group home, and I was there up until the last day that I aged out, right after I turned 18.
So a lot of people, when we talk about group homes, it's kind of difficult to conceptualize if that's not something that you've experienced before. Would you mind explaining kind of what was life in a group home like for you?
So I've only ever been in the one group home. There's many different types. There are some that are very much like lockdown facilities, I guess you could say. They're a lot more stricter and less access to the outside world and stuff like that. This is just what I've heard. But mine was, there was 4 cottages, which is what we would call our homes, and there was little girls, little boys, high school girls, and high school boys. I was in the high school girls cottage, and it was just a really big house with 2 living rooms, a kitchen, and about, I want to say, 8 rooms. And each room had about 2 girls in them, except for a couple that were just 1 bedrooms for our older girls. And it was different at first, just because I don't have any siblings. It was always just me and my mom, and to go from that to living with 12 other girls, and everybody has a different story, everybody has a different personality. It was a really huge adjustment. And then you bring in, we had 8 staff members that would care for us. We would see 4 different staff members in a day, 8 in a week, as well as a cottage supervisor, and then all the other staff members that were on property all the time. and our meals were had in a cafeteria where we would eat with all the other cottages as well. So it was definitely, you were never alone. Let's put it that way. Our days were really structured, breakfast at a certain time, lunch, dinner, everything was at a certain time. Even during the summer, I remember we had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to breakfast, and we had like summer camp activities that we had to attend, and we had point sheets, and that would determine, what you would be able to do. Like if you could go on food runs, which is like going to McDonald's or something, how much allowance you got. It was definitely very structured, and very controlled, I guess you could say. Whereas a foster home would be just living off of your foster parents' rules and guidelines. So they're very different, and I think that there are benefits to both. And I always say that I feel blessed that I was at Great Oaks just because it was a better situation than the one that I was previously in. But I do feel like a foster home would have been a better environment, especially for a high school student. Just more freedom and more the ability to hang out with friends and go to different social events and stuff like that, which you don't really have in a group home just because of all of the background checks and fingerprints and all of that.
So a lot of the things that we talk about when it comes to foster parent recruitment and helping people to understand, we want what we call normalcy. We want our teenagers and children to experience whatever every other teenager and young adult would. And so would you mind talking about what that looks like when you're with a foster family versus a group home, and how there's kind of, there's just not that same feeling of that everyday average childhood sometimes if you're not able to be in that parental kind of household?
So definitely. Like I mentioned with a group home, if I wanted to go hang out with my friend Susie at her house, her parents would have to get a background check and fingerprinted and bring their car registration and insurance and everything, and I would have to be back by a certain time, which was always like curfew, and it depended on your point system. So it was this big thing, and you definitely couldn't do any spur of the moment like activities. So if there was a birthday party that I wanted to go to on Saturday, if I didn't get it approved 48 hours before by our cottage supervisor, it wasn't happening. Which this happened a lot, and it led to a lot of the youth just run away. I did that, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, you make these decisions just because you want to have a normal life, you want to hang out with friends, and you want to be able to go to the mall or go get food. Like, I remember me and a group of other girls, like a bunch of my friends from the cottage, we ran away one night just to go trick-or-treating. And we came back at 11. We didn't leave for a long time, but we went trick-or-treating. We wanted to so bad, which it sounds silly because we were like big kids, but we wanted to go trick-or-treating, and they wouldn't let us, and we just ran away. And in a foster home, that wouldn't have happened, I mean, yeah, maybe your foster parents wouldn't be okay with you going out super late, but most of the times they'd be okay with you trick-or-treating or going to a friend's birthday party or something like that. So I feel like in a group home, you're very limited to the things that you can do with your social life, whereas in a foster home, you have a lot more freedom based on your foster parents' beliefs and like their morals and the rules and everything.
So one of the things that sometimes we hear is that, I don't know if I'm equipped to handle a teenager, that just that fear of what is this going to look like, because this has changed, for our foster parents as well. And so would you say anything to those that kind of have that fear of teenagers are scary and teenagers are hard and I don't know if I can do this?
I agree, teenagers are scary. I had some girls that I lived with that I was just like, whoa, like I'm your age and I don't know what to do with you. Like, I understand, like we're scary, we're hard, because we don't know what we're feeling or what we're going through. everybody was there once, and you can remember how tough it was to like fit in and figure out what you like, what you don't like, how to deal with like everything that's going on. We have so many things happening to us when we're in the foster care system, and it's just everything happens so fast, and every decision is made for you, not with you, and it's hard to deal with those things in a right way. So we overreact and we make rash decisions and we run away and we misbehave and use bad language and do all these things that it's not the proper way to react, but it's understandable, and I don't know, I don't think there's such thing as a bad kid, for foster kids, we've been through a lot, and it's just about talking and communication and openness and just being able to, try to put yourself in like this youth's shoes, and I think that's why I think that being able to meet with the youth that you're thinking about fostering and building a relationship before you just jump into becoming a foster parent is very important. Counseling as a foster family is very important. And I think it goes a long way towards building a good, healthy relationship and a good environment for this youth that's been through so much already.
So one of the misconceptions that are out there is that when children come into foster care, it's, those egregious abuse cases that you hear on the news or in movies all of the time. But in your case, it was your mother had mental health, which is actually a really common reason that kids wind up coming into foster care. Would you mind talking just a little bit about, what ultimately made you make that decision to call? Just because so many people think that our biological parents are bad parents. And a lot of times it's just, they're going through a really difficult situation or a really difficult period in their lives, and so they just need a little bit of help. Would you mind talking more about that?
Yeah, so my mom, we didn't become aware of her mental state until I was in the 8th grade. I was about 13. Actually, it was the summer before my freshman year of high school. And she had a breakdown, and my best friend's mom called an ambulance, and she was taken to the hospital, and so on and so forth. That's how we found out. But before that, she had acted very weird, and she was just all of a sudden very different when I turned 12. And that's when we kind of got the idea that there's something not right going on here. But we never knew what. And yeah, like you said, there's different cases of, why a child is in foster care. Mine wasn't, I don't think that I had a bad case. I just think that my mom just wasn't in the right state of mind to be able to care for me. She could barely care for herself. But to this day, my mother and I, we now have a relationship, which we didn't have before, but it's taken time. I remember when I first came to care, I wanted nothing to do with my mom. And it wasn't because of anything specific that she did to me while I was living with her. It was just, I had a lot of anger and resentment about the whole situation. But now I see my mom every week. I talk to her. We don't have the best mother-daughter relationship, but we have a relationship. And it's the only kind that we're going to have just because of the situation. But I've come to terms with that, and I've let go of all of that, a lot of that resentment and anger, and I think we're in a better place. But yeah, you're right, there's so many other reasons why kids go into foster care, and it's not always something extremely bad. Sometimes it's just a parent that's going through a bad patch that just needs to get back on their feet. That's why there are plans in place for those types of situations, for a parent to get back on their feet and then regain custody. That unfortunately just wasn't my situation, But yeah.
One of the things that I've heard you say before, I know, is at the Cars for Kids giveaway, I think it was 2 years ago, or last year, and you were speaking, and everything you just said was just so touching to me. But one of the statements you made was that foster care saved your life. Would you mind talking a little bit about what prompted you to say that? Like, where does that feeling come from?
So I just think back to like the situation that I was in when I called the non-emergency number, and DCF came, and just I was in a motel in the bad side of town. All of our belongings were there. My mom was having an episode. I wasn't enrolled in school. I barely had clothes or shoes or anything, no food in the fridge. And just think about what would have happened had I not called. Would I have gotten enrolled in school? Like, we didn't even have a car. I just remember that. We didn't have a car or anything. We didn't have an address. How would I have gotten enrolled in school? Like, would I have finished school? Like, it's just one of those things that I'm like, if I hadn't made that call, where would I be today? You know, I have my own apartment, I have a car, I'm in school, I have a job, and I feel very blessed with all the blessings that I've gotten from being in foster care. Yeah, while I was in the group home, I hated it there. We all did. It's not the best place, but I never once said, you know, I'd rather be home. Because I didn't. I was in a much better situation. And I knew that once I made that call, that everything was going to work out for the best. And I'm glad that I did, and I wouldn't change a single thing. I try not to regret any of the choices that I've made in my life, and that is definitely one that I do not regret.
What are some of the supports that exist for young adults that are in foster care?
So everybody's situation is very different, but for me and a couple of other girls that were in care, that I was in care with, we all had the opportunity to, so we get our school paid for 100% until I believe up to our master's degree or
Until age 28, actually. 28
Yeah,
or 29.
28, okay. And that alone is just like amazing. Like, I have so many friends that they take out loans or their parents have to pay for it, and it is hard. We also get a monthly stipend that helps pay for everything for us, and cars for kids. Like, I got a free car donated to me, and all of these things, just when you put them together, I am so blessed and so lucky. And I don't take that for granted because I have so many friends that don't have the same opportunities, and they have their parents. So it's just, we're more than blessed, and that's also part of the reason why I wanted to do this, as sort of like a thank you, you know, like thank you for all the support and for all the help and for being there, you know. I'm surrounded by all of these helpful and just amazing people. My counselor, Ms. Ashley Bryant, who was there for me all of my foster care years, who's still there for me. I don't know where I would be without her. Like, I love her. We have a huge support system, and honestly, to this day, I still talk to my first roommate that I had when I went to foster care. We're really good friends. We live in the same apartment complex, Nicole Cordova. I love her.
I like her too.
She's
great,
yeah. And yeah, I love our friendship, and I'm so thankful for it. You know, she was a great, great friend and a huge, huge support system.
So one of the things that we say all the time is that it really takes just that one person to really make a difference in a child's life. A lot of people think that's just a saying that we throw out, but in your case, you found that to be true. Would you mind talking more about that relationship?
Yeah, so Miss Ashley she is just amazing. She is, I don't even know. She's amazing. Okay, so she was always there for us, the whole house. We loved her so much. She got us. She understood us. She was so easy to talk to. And she knows my whole life story. She's been there through it all, and to this day, she is just a huge support system. Anything that I was going through or that I am going through, I know I can reach out and call her, and she will be there. And it's something very important to have someone that you can talk to when you're going through all these changes and this big transition from your home life with your biological parents to foster care. And just having someone that you can talk to and that'll be there for you and that'll give you advice and who's been through their share of troubles and hard times, someone that can relate, you know, it's just amazing. And I found that support system in my counselor, my therapist. But I know kids that have found it in their foster parents and in their caseworkers. I had the most amazing caseworker, Miss Jennifer Rodriguez, and I had her up until this past December. She was like a mother to me. She was amazing. So I didn't lack in support and in wonderful, amazing women in my life that were there for me, and I'm so grateful for that because I always had someone that I could bring my troubles to and talk to, and they were just amazing women.
So Ashley is a counselor. She was your counselor. There's also mentors out there too, right?
Yeah.
Would you advise people to look into becoming a mentor?
Yeah, so I had a couple of mentors while I was at Great Oaks Village, and yeah, they're great. It's another source of, you know, support and getting, you learn a lot from them too. Vanessa Eccles from she's a news anchor.
Yeah, WSTV.
Yeah, she was my mentor for a while.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she was amazing. I learned a lot from her. I actually had another mentor who was, we were looking for her to foster me. And it didn't work out in the end because I was just in a different place at the time. Like it wasn't the best time for me, which is great that I got to know her and her family and have a good relationship with them. I still have a good relationship with them. I still talk to her and she was amazing. But I'm very glad that we got to have a relationship and we realized, you know, this isn't the right time, you know, and that's perfectly okay. You know, we tried and it just didn't work out. So, yeah, but we gave it a shot, you know, and that's all you can ask. You know, if you're thinking about fostering, you think that it might work for you, give it a shot. See if it's something that, you know, can work for your family. And if not, then no harm, no foul, you know, you tried.
Right. So, like we mentioned, group homes, obviously, they have their place in the foster care system. Have you found that for youth who did not wind up having that permanency when they were 18 and wound up transitioning out of foster care, was that desire for a family there, like to have that foster family? Did you ever experience that, or know others who did?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah. So for those that were not with foster parents, was there ever that desire there to like be in that family kind of setting?
I think so. I can't recall any specifics, but I know there has to be. You know, everybody wants to feel loved, and you know, even if it's family love or friendship love, that desire is there. A lot of the times it was just more so wishing they could change their home life situation and wishing that they would have that relationship with their biological parents. But yeah, definitely being able to have that with a foster family or an adoptive family, like, it makes a difference. And everybody's at a different place, so adoption would have never been something that I would have wanted, just because I have my mom, you know, and I still talk to her, and I didn't want to necessarily replace her, but I know other people who didn't have their parents, and it wasn't, you know, an option for them to even have a relationship with their parents. So that would have been something that they would have been completely okay with and like wanted. But I can't really think of anything specific, you know.
Why, if someone were to say, you know, why me? Like, why should I do this? Why is it up to me to help care for a child that's not my own? What would you say to them?
Why not? You know? It's like a friendship. Would you turn down a friendship? Like, oh, I have so many friends. Like, why do I need another one? You know? Just give it a shot. You never know. You might click. This might be like something that you didn't know you were looking for, you know? And even if it doesn't become a permanent thing or an adoption thing, or you don't end up fostering this child, you could still be their mentor. You could be someone that is there for them and helps them through these rough years, you know, and guides them and gives them like a new perspective on life. And you know, you never know the difference that you can make in their life and the difference that they'll make in yours. You know, this isn't just a one-way thing. This is a, you know, give and take kind of relationship. And you never know what you'll get out of it, you know?
I hear from so many foster parents that I've talked about how much more they feel like they've been changed through their children than the fact that, you know, they have these children. So there's definitely that feeling of, ooh, even like I'm emotional just like thinking of like all of their stories and just, you know, we think so much of like, this isn't I'm doing for you, but like you get so much more out of it than I think people think that they do.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else that like I didn't ask, that you would want to talk about, or any comments?
I think I'm okay.
Well, this has been Daniela being with Embrace Families, and again, I have been with the amazing Claudia. We encourage everyone to consider becoming a foster parent or a mentor. You can go to our website, which is embracefamilies.org, or give us a call at 1-866-90-CHILD. There's absolutely zero commitment to reaching out. We just want to answer any questions that you might have and talk about the process and see what you think might be best with you, for you and for your family. So we hope to see you all next time on our series of what to expect when expecting to become a foster parent.